WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
All right, 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Did you notice it was October 1st, Robin?
Yeah, I did.
It's October.
I know.
As soon as that calendar changes, everything else changes. Your whole attitude changes, right? You start to see more orange. Guests wearing orange T-shirts start showing up in the studio.
That's amazing.
One of the things about this time of year that has been a part of our community is the pumpkin patch at the Druid Hills United Methodist Church, and that church closed, unfortunately. And I don't know if it's a sign of the times. I hope not. But yeah, it's no longer there. So we were all wondering, well, what's going to happen? Well, guess who came to the rescue? The First United Methodist Church. I would guess that's a sister church. I don't know if you say that or not. In the studio to talk about this, Lori Cotton is the chair of the planning committee for the First United Methodist Church, and Debbie Baugher has been involved in running the Druid Hills Pumpkin Patch for a lot of time. Your father, Roy?
Yep.
And you sent us a picture of your dad. Let me see if I can figure out. Is it this one? I think it's this one right here. Yeah, is that your dad? Can you see that?
I can't see it, but he's probably got
the picture you sent us. Yeah.
Said Head Pumpkin Man.
Yeah, Head Pumpkin Man. Yes, yes.
He was there for many years.
So it is part of Ocala, isn't it? It's just part of us. So thank you, ladies, for coming in.
Thank you.
And thank you for continuing the tradition of the pumpkin patch.
We're very excited.
Yeah, we are too as a community. We do. Do you know we went there once to do a video, and we didn't realize all the help you guys got from the community. Who was it? Forest High School?
Yes,
ROTC?
Forest High School. ROTC comes out and unloads it, and it's one of their most popular events that the kids line up to sign up to come out and do that. It's a lot of fun, and we could not have done it without them. As our church aged, we just would not have been able to do that without their assistance, and they've just been wonderful to us.
So are you now with United Methodist? What is the name of the church again?
First United Methodist. Well, different people have gone different ways.
So the Druid Hills congregations
it just kind
splintered?
of, yes, unfortunately. It did, but people had different needs, and different churches fill different needs.
Yeah. So what is the hardest part about having a pumpkin patch? What's the biggest challenge? Is it the pumpkins themselves? I
don't think it's the pumpkins themselves. I think it's the planning going forward. I mean, ask Lori, because she's just stepped into this. Mine is rote.
You've done it forever.
I've done it for so long that I think the most exciting part about moving to First United has just been the new bank of ideas, bringing in new people with great new ideas of how to enrich it. And
I'm looking forward to hearing about this.
There's all kinds of new things happening, and it's because we had new people involved who had great new ideas, and Lori's been working very hard to make them happen.
What kind of ideas?
Well, it started with talking about the pumpkins, like really just from the basic level. We bring the pumpkins, we sell the pumpkins, we do all of this, and then somebody said, what if we had a date night? Or what if we had some music? What if we did this? And then there were all kinds of different ideas.
Nice, yeah.
And then really the overall focus has been to involve the community as much as possible and to bring as many different people onto the pumpkin patch to do whatever activity it is. So there's things for runners, there's things for Pokemon, if you play Pokemon.
Nice.
Oh, really?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
See, and that's part of it, too, that was part of the tradition. It wasn't just a field full of pumpkins. There was always an event or two or three throughout the course of is it a month that you do this?
No, about 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks or so.
Okay.
October 11th, you said you were going to start?
Through the 31st, or when the last pumpkin sold. Some years we've run out of pumpkins, and some years we haven't.
Where do they come from? Where do the pumpkins come from?
They come from a Navajo farm in New Mexico, and that's how
Mexico.
It's an Indian reservation, and they use the pumpkins as a way to make their livelihood, and it's all fundraising. They only sell to churches or fundraising groups.
Is that right?
And they're on consignment. How effective is it as a fundraiser for the church? For Druid Hills, it was very effective, and Druid Hills used the money for operations of the church, but First United's able to put that money back into the community.
Our plan is 100% of the proceeds will go to local charities.
My gosh.
Local missions.
Wow.
So
that's a real church, isn't
yes.
it? Mm-hmm. So I mean, not that other churches aren't real, but I mean, that's just the spirit of what church is, right? Mm-hmm. So you don't need anything? The church doesn't need anything?
Well,
we could help you, maybe.
I'm not sure what we need, but we know what the community needs. We know the community has a lot of needs, and our church is already very involved in a lot of community projects. The ones that we've decided to support with the Pumpkin Patch, first of all, Kimberly Center for Child Protection, which helps abused and neglected children and their families. Yeah. Wear Gloves, Dignity Roasters.
We've had them in here.
Yes, you've had Ken and Wendy Cabrudel here, and we support the...
Still drinking their coffee, by the way.
It's wonderful coffee. We support their mission and their philosophy and the way that they help with the homeless population. Open Arms Village, which is another Methodist church. St. Mark's has opened a portion of their church to have housing for some homeless men who are ready to turn their lives around, get jobs, get things together, and work towards the future. Our own Tuesday morning ministry at the church, I don't know if you're familiar with that, but every Tuesday we open our doors. And we have a few hundred people come in. We have homeless people. We have people who maybe aren't homeless but don't have a lot of resources. We serve a hot meal. We have clothing, toiletries. There's bread from Publix. There's legal advice for people who need it. Generally,
that is so amazing that you're going to do all that stuff. Do you blow your own horn? I mean, aside from coming on the radio right now, I mean, we need to know that you do that.
I try to.
Yeah. Good for you.
Our biggest thing that we do at Tuesday Morning Ministers is we provide identifications. A lot of people, if they're homeless, maybe they just got out of jail or prison, or maybe they lost their belongings for some reason. If you can't have an ID, you can't get a job, you can't get a place to live. So that's our main centerpiece. Thing
really?
And then everything else has grown around that. We also have a bike ministry where we help people who need a bike to get to work. Mm-hmm. So
that's
wonderful. We can help you by raising money to buy a bike or something.
Well, we would love bike donations.
Just bicycles.
Yes, if people could send us bicycles, we can refurbish them and get them right back out to people who need them. We give them lights and a lock, and then they can go out and we interview people, find out what their needs are. It's not just free bike for right around the neighborhood. It's people who need it for transportation.
Well, good for you. Yeah.
And during the Pumpkin Patch days, you're going to have special story times.
Yes, and that's continuing with what Druid Hills did, so I'll let Debbie explain that.
Right. We have had in the past the preschools in the area come out and bring their children to hear stories about fall and see pumpkins and hear about pumpkins. A lot of them, it's their first exposure to pumpkins, And this year, we are also going to offer a story time on Saturday, October 20th, from 10 to 12 for the deaf and hard of hearing children. Well, anybody can come, but we're going to have sign language interpreters there to interpret the stories for that part of the population. So, and the storytellers and interpreters are from the Forest High School ASL Club. Redeemer has an ASL class, and at the Central Florida College, they have also ASL class, and those students are coming out to do the interpreting.
Help me out. What does ASL stand for? What is that?
American Sign Language.
Oh, okay.
That is wonderful.
Yeah.
And you've also invited an autistic school.
Well, they reached out to me, actually. We sent out letters to all the preschools, and then I received a couple of emails from a school for autistic children, a private school here in Ocala, and they're going to send 3 different classes. Kind of in waves, and they'll come and do the story time and visit the pumpkin patch, and each kid can take home a little pumpkin. That's the cheapest pumpkin's $1, so it's a type of thing that's accessible to just about everybody.
So the best thing we can do is a very fun thing. We can just go get a pumpkin and then maybe take in 1 or 2 of the activities or the shows, right? You have music so tell me about the date night. What happens that night?
Well,
they park their car. What happens?
We've renamed it Pumpkin Park After Dark, and right now we have 2 of those time slots filled. On the 20th, we have the Heaven Bound Singers coming, and they're a Southern Gospel Bluegrass band. There are 11 members. They're from 5 different churches. They started at First Baptist. They have a harmonica and a keyboard and a banjo, and I haven't seen them perform, but I saw a video, and they're pretty great. So that's the 20th.
Are they local? They're local?
They are local. They're local. October 20th at 7 o'clock p.m. And then the 27th, we have Humans in Disguise, which is a rock band.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
It's our interim music director at our church has a band.
Oh, okay, okay.
They're going to come, and I believe they're coming in costume.
Oh, cool.
That makes sense if it's Humans in Disguise.
Well, so that should be a lot of fun. That's October 27th, 7 to 9 p.m. And then we'll have pumpkin pie. Everything's free.
Have you ever made a pumpkin pie with a pumpkin?
Yes.
Have you?
Yes.
Does it taste like a pumpkin pie at like Denny's?
Yes.
Yeah?
Better even.
Really?
But the small pumpkins, which are called our spookies, are also pie pumpkins, and they make delicious pies. I take a bunch
Do you know
of
how to do that?
I cook them down every year and put it in my freezer. And
I've never baked a pumpkin pie. Maybe Debbie will help me do one.
It's the first time I've ever heard anybody knew how to do this.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. So you have to have a special kind of pumpkin?
It's better if you have the smaller ones because they're sweeter.
Oh,
but
okay.
You can do it with a bigger pumpkin too.
The pumpkin pie tastes so good, but when you open up a pumpkin and smell that and have it in your fingers, it's like, oh my gosh.
Well, because there's no sugar in it.
There's
a little bit of sugar, but the pumpkin, you have to add sugar.
So the secret is the sugar?
Well, and the spice.
It's like carrot cake. How did that ever become a cake?
Right. Zucchini bread.
Right, that's another one. All right, so let's see, trunk or treat. That's like the Halloween day or night, right?
And we've been doing trunk or treat at First United Methodist Church for years.
Yeah.
It's a free event. Again, it's for the neighborhood. We have church members that come and bring in their cars, decorate their trunks. That's why we call it trunk or treat. And then we hand out candy. There are bouncy houses. We have hot dogs. They have cotton candy, popcorn, things like that. It's like a little carnival. And we have done that every Halloween for as long as I can remember.
And it has become necessary. We live in a world that you just don't trust as much as we used to. And so I think that's why the trunk or treat is so welcomed by the community. You have a little kid, you're walking door to door. You don't want somebody to hand them something that's no good or poisoned or something.
It's definitely a safe place. And it's fun. It's 5:30 to 7, so it's before it gets dark. So if littler kids want to come, have a good time, we do that. I usually take my kids and then go trick-or-treating in the neighborhood. So
what was the day like, the moment like, the meeting like when you decided, let's do the pumpkin patch, let's adapt to that?
Probably overwhelming.
It was a lot, and I was at Tuesday Morning Ministry, and one of the Druid Hills members, Steve, we call him Pumpkin Patch Steve because he just loves the pumpkin patch. But
we know Steve.
You know Pumpkin Patch?
Everybody knows Steve.
Yeah.
Do we? Okay.
Yeah, the tall, skinny guy. And
Steve
and everything. Right? Yeah, Steve's such a nice guy.
Tall, good-looking guy is what you meant to say right there, right?
He started talking about it. I don't even remember the context, but there was a conversation that Druid Hills wasn't going to be able to do it anymore, and what was going to happen. And then we started talking among ourselves at the church, and then our pastor David invited Debbie to have a conversation, and the first conversation was the three of us sitting down, Debbie and David and I, hearing the history of the pumpkin patch, trying to figure out if it was feasible to do it this way. That was a long time ago. It feels like it was just a few months ago, but it was
back in June or so.
Big idea.
Yeah, and also June Edwards was pretty involved. She didn't really. That was one of the things when the word got out that Druid Hills was closing. We got a lot of calls about what's going to happen to the pumpkin patch. What's going to happen? Everybody wanted to know.
What about the other things that
the Easter tableau? I'm not sure, but there's a United Methodist Church out in the forest, and I believe that the Easter tableau is going to move out to their facility. I believe. I'm not 100% on that, but I believe that's where that went. But
you have a photo booth there. Will you have face painting there also for the children this year?
No, I don't think so. We had those at the block party, the face painting and the balloons and whatnot. But I think we have our cutouts that were at the Druid Hills Pumpkin Patch. They're now over at First United. So we're going to set those up, the barn and the Cinderella carriage and the little clown faces and the scarecrows. All of that moved over. So all that stuff will be familiar to people.
I feel stupid asking this question, but what is a photo booth?
Well,
Is it like what we used to have when we were kids? Is it put a quarter in and get your picture?
No,
Okay.
it's more of just an area to take pictures. And actually, our youth pastor, Austin, has taken over that. And he told me that one wasn't going to be enough, that we're going to have 4. So it's a different area with a backdrop.
What am I missing? What is...
maybe I'll hold up a fun hat or put on a fun hat or a pumpkin on a stick and take a picture with my friends.
With your phone?
With my phone or somebody else's phone or a camera.
Okay.
Right.
We used to say when we were at Druid Hills that the pumpkin patch is one of the number 1 most photographed spots in Ocala because
I bet it is.
everybody came.
I bet it was.
We had weddings in the pumpkin patch, believe it or not. Brides come down from their weddings to have their pictures taken. And because we were so close to the hospital, we would have families come down with new babies and, plant them in the pumpkins and stuff. And we would have a contest among ourselves every year.
Yeah.
Just among the workers, okay, how young was that baby? How young was that baby? And we would have them right from the hospital come down to the pumpkin patch.
Have you ever had, in the delivery of pumpkins, a snake?
No.
No snake ever arrived with the pumpkins?
No snake ever arrived with the pumpkins.
Oh, really?
Nope. No.
New Mexico?
No live animals either.
New Mexico.
Or anything like that.
Nope.
So I have a question or a favor to ask you. First United Methodist Church. This is the question for the church.
Okay.
Or a favor. Can you establish a relationship with us? Druid Hills always had a relationship with us. You would always send people here. I know some of them have passed away. Forgive me for not naming the people I should name, but Bill Pitts comes to mind.
Oh, I love
Doris,
Bill.
yeah.
Yes, Bill and Doris.
And who was it? Was another gentleman?
Oh, probably
Bob Green.
Bob Green. He passed last year. Bob Green.
So you guys always kept us in mind as one way. I don't say we should be the only way, but one way to get the word out about the good things you're doing.
Right.
So just keep us in mind. Yeah.
We will do
If
that.
you're going to take over the pumpkin patch, take over the radio patch.
Well, your church has been very instrumental in our community for years. I know back in 1974, you used to have craft classes in there, and that's where my mother and I made our nativity sets, and I still have them to this day.
Really?
So the church has been an instrumental driving force in this community with a lot of different things for a lot of decades.
Druid Hills was actually an offshoot of First United. When it started, it was a group of families from First United that felt it had gotten a little too big and wanted a more intimate setting, and that's how Druid Hills started, was from First United.
Right.
Yeah.
And what's absolutely wonderful are the faces of the children. And it, like you were
Let me show you some of the pictures.
mentioning earlier, it is a safe place because we've witnessed the parents bringing their children and they just let them go and pick out their own pumpkin. And sometimes they want a pumpkin that's too big for them to carry themselves. So then the parents come and help them and everything.
A lot of kids want to go out there and find the biggest pumpkin in the patch. That's what they want. That's their goal, the biggest pumpkin.
Look at these beautiful faces they just sent me for these photographs here.
I know, aren't they outstanding?
Those are Debbie's girls.
Those are your children? Mm-hmm. Oh, my gosh. They're so beautiful.
Thank you.
And this is your dad again, right, Lori?
Yep.
Lori, Debbie. Debbie's dad, right? And I think one picture you sent me is sideways. Oh, no, it's not sideways. I thought it was sideways. There's one more. There you go.
There,
Boy.
I love that shot.
Somebody's a good photographer over there. Those are pretty pictures.
I like the fact too that you have had a rapport with the driver, the semi-driver that will come in. He's big cowboy hat and everything, and he was just so delightful to talk to.
Well, we actually have a different driver every year because they're contracted. So whoever gets the contract gets those pumpkins or whatever. So, like last year, because the hurricane came through, we actually got the load that was meant for the Jacksonville church. They couldn't take it because they were flooded or something, and so they had to divert the truck, and it came down, and we took those pumpkins instead. So we get it, but we always have great drivers, and they're great guys, and they just kind of hang out and let us unload our truck, and then they're off to their next stop.
And what's really nice about the church is that sometimes people need guidance. They're looking for something, and the pumpkin patch is a way for them to come and be relaxed and speak about something that's on their mind to a representative or even the pastor.
Oh, we took Holy Communion there one time.
Yeah.
We did.
Who was the pastor that did that?
I'm thinking it might have been Daryl. Was it Daryl Allen?
Daryl, yeah. Yeah, it was Daryl.
There you go.
Yeah.
So you have your headphones on already, and if you could put your headphones on, you'll be able to hear a listener calling in. I think I have somebody on here. Good morning. Thank you for calling. You're on the air.
Yes, thank you. Looking forward to the patch opening up. I was just wondering, what do you do with the leftover pumpkins?
Well, I've learned a lot about pumpkins. This is Lori, and Debbie probably knows more about this than I do, but I understand that a lot of farm animals will eat, I guess, the pumpkins that are left over. And so
Really?
I've had a few people already contact me. I know Debbie knows a few people. Do you have any pigs that need pumpkins?
Well, I'm not going to say too much, but once in a while I call my wife a pig. She's not here right now, so I can get away with that.
We rarely have pumpkins left over at the end of the patch on the 31st. And if we do, in the past, we have just kind of had them out there for donation. But the ones that are slightly bad, we put aside for the farmers that come and get them for their animals. The ones that are really bad, we throw in the dumpster.
Okay, very good. I just wanted to say real quickly that Illinois is the #1 pumpkin producing state.
How about that?
I wouldn't have guessed that.
Are you looking for any more entertainers?
We could use another music group on the 13th. We could definitely use that. I am looking for musicians who will work for free, which is kind of hard to do, but it is all for charity. So
No, that's
I've been
wonderful.
trying to focus on keeping costs down too.
So the pumpkin patch starts October 11th, which is 10 days from today, believe it or not, and it runs until the pumpkins are gone or
Yep.
till Halloween,
Right.
whichever comes first, right?
Correct.
Even if the pumpkins are gone, we will be there on Halloween with Trunk or Treat. And even if the pumpkins are gone, we'll be there on
There you go.
Saturday
That's
night
right.
having a concert. So we'll be there.
Are the volunteers besides musicians? What else can we do for you? Do you need?
We're going to have the blood mobile.
We'll have the Bloodmobile there.
Okay,
On,
okay.
Which one?
The Life South.
Life South.
The first two Friday nights, that is the 12th and the 19th. The Blood Bless will be there from 4 to 8. We do have volunteer slots. If anybody's interested in coming on out, you get a free T-shirt. As of last night, we had 73% of our slots filled, which is great because we're
Nice.
talking about almost 400 volunteer slots. So I'm proud of our church for stepping up and filling in.
And that's what's really nice about the students that volunteer, because they can use that for their community hours
Exactly.
to go toward their scholarships.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. High school students can use those hours.
And one more phone call. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. I just wanted to put in a request for some of the for the leftover pumpkins. The animals out at Ears, the tigers and bears and lions love to both play and eat them. So if there are any left over, I will be in touch with you.
Yes, ma'am. We have an email and a Facebook page, and I've taken my kids out to Ears and I've toured it, so I'm familiar with it, and we'll definitely be in touch when we have some of those pumpkins that maybe aren't quite good enough to
well, thank
sell.
you.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
Bye. And thank you.
Thank you.
And Hires Baxley is instrumental this year also.
Yes, they have done all of our printing, which is wonderful. If I need flyers, they print them up. And they are also going to help us put up a tent and pay for the permitting for that with the city, which is really nice.
Well, this is a beautiful way to hear the rest of the story after hearing that Druid Hills was closing, the Methodist church over there. And I always like the name Druid Hills. It's just a nice name. Is that area still called Druid Hills, or was that the last thing called Druid Hills?
No,
over there?
I think the neighborhood back behind there is a
Still
Druid
called
Hills.
Druid Hills. Yeah. So it starts the 11th, and just what is your address for the church? That's a really good question, because I don't even think I know.
It's
Do I?
1126 East Silver Springs Boulevard. It's the big yellow church. The crossroad is 11th.
Oh, okay.
So 11th and
I
Silver
know
Springs
exactly where you are. Okay, I didn't realize that's where you were. Okay.
And we got our signs up yesterday, so it says the pumpkins are coming.
The pumpkins are coming.
And you have a website.
I have an email. It's ocalapumpkinpatch@gmail.com. And then we also have a Facebook page, which is an easy way to contact us. It's also Ocala Pumpkin Patch.
And there's a link from First United.
There's a
page,
link
too.
from the First United Methodist Church page to that. Yes.
Oh, that's amazing.
Lori Cotton.
FUMCOcala.org.
Yes.
Lori and Debbie Baugher, thank you, ladies, for coming in here. Thank you for what you're doing, too. This is something the community always looked forward to, and it's nice to know that we have it again. We didn't skip a year, right? We
Didn't skip a year.
Wow.
We didn't miss a year.
Wow. Thank you both.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.